What is going on, guys? Carter here. So I have got a first for me, so you're gonna have to bear with me. This is my first ever, I guess you'd call it a sword review. This is on the Suontaka Viking sword from Windlass Cutlery. First off, so right off the bat, let's get this out of the way. I am by no means anywhere close to an expert. When it comes to swords, I'm casually informed, very casually interested. I love them. I like to collect them, but I don't know a ton about them. So with that being said, there's lots of great reviews out there that go more in depth with the history, the functionality, the details, and I will. So rather than try to even compete with that, I'm going to keep my reviews very brief. This is mainly for people that are thinking, do I want to buy this? What is the quality of this item? What am I getting? What are some things that I should pay attention to that I can quickly ingest to make my decision? Like I said, there's plenty of videos out there that are more in depth and kind of good to watch all the way through, 10 to 15 minute long videos where you get a good rich history, good production value. This is more of a quick look. What are you getting with it? Is it worth the money? Things to watch out for, things of that nature. So the Suontaka, I believe that's how you pronounce it. Viking sword right here. I did an unboxing on it a little bit ago, so I'm not going to delve into kind of the history of this sword too much, but this is based off of an actual archaeological find of the region for which it is named, or it's named after the region that it was found in. It was found in the grave of a woman. I don't believe they have any idea who this woman was or why she was buried with such a nice ornate sword. But this is based off of an actual find, so that's pretty cool. That's kind of why I wanted to get it myself, because I like the history of it and the fact that it's based off a real sword. But there are some definite differences. So the original had a solid cast brass hilt. So this entire piece, from the guard to the pommel, the handle, it was all solid brass. This is not. This actually has wood on the grip right here, and then it's wrapped in various metal pieces. None of this is actual brass. It is kind of a antiqued brass-like metal finish. I'm not sure what the metal is, if it's a mild steel or some sort of, I doubt it's pot metal, but you never know. This is kind of the Windlass higher end line of swords that they do. You have the same brass finished metal fittings on the scabbard, as well as the details on the belt here. Just like that, matches everything on there. Now, as far as the actual design, it's very close to the original. All of this looks very close to the original in terms of the design, the piece that goes around the middle here, these inlaid pieces here. The original just is not wood. So keep that in mind. It's similar, but not an exact representation of the original. So I opted for the sharpened version. I bought this directly from Museum Replicas, I believe is their Windlass's higher end, if you want to call it that, kind of name. The quality that you get, the fit on this is very, very good. Everything looks nice. It's not perfect. Everything fits together. Nothing is wobbly. It has a good weight to it. It is a Viking sword, so it is a little bit heavier than some of the others you might come across. But the fit, everything fits nicely. You've got some gaps on the guard here where the blade goes in. Don't know if you can see that. Pretty typical at this price point. There was some scuffs and scratches on the blade. I actually refinished it with some 2000 grit sandpaper and then buffed it a little bit with some Flitz buffing compound just by hand. So I didn't go too heavy on it. It still has a few of the deeper scratches in it, but I got most of the annoying ones out. And that's what's going to happen, especially at this price point. It's really easy to scuff these finishes. And when you're dealing with a blade this large, it's difficult to transport them around the shop without getting any sort of scuffs or scrapes on them. So you're going to find that on knives and things, it's a little bit easier to kind of keep them wrapped up and safe, but on larger blades, it is more difficult. So you only see that in the higher price points. You can see the Windlass Cutlery markings right there. That is one thing I do not like about Windlass, is that they mark their blades. All of the ones I have from them are all marked Windlass, made in India. I prefer not to. I mean, not that I'm trying to pass this off as any sort of real historical sword, but it's just that constant reminder that it's, you know, that it's manufactured, it's modern. So overall, quality's nice. Blade is perfectly straight. I don't see any forging marks on there, or at least nothing noteworthy. Another thing to note, when you're dealing with Indian knives, you have the secondary bevel issue. You can see right there, very wide secondary bevel on this blade because it is manufactured dull, and that's been the case for every Indian blade I've ever owned. It's dull, and then when you sharpen it, you put a very pronounced secondary bevel on there. Problem with the secondary bevel, aside from not being historically accurate, it doesn't look as good, but it does affect the cutting ability a little bit, because it means that it is thicker behind that bevel there, as opposed to a zero grind, which goes all the way to the edge, or a near zero grind. Typically, in this price point, when you do find a zero grind blade, it's not true zero ground, it's just pretty dang close. So, for instance, Ronin katana blades are like that, where you have to really look for that secondary bevel. So, at the end of the day, it's a cool sword, mainly because it's really ornate, has a lot of detail to it, and the fact that that is in fact based fairly closely on a real archaeological find means that it's kind of cool to have, right? Because at first glance, it almost seems like it's a fantasy type blade, couldn't possibly be real, but it is based off of a real design. So very cool. Like I said, it is a mid-tier to low-tier sword, so you do get what you pay for. However, there are no glaring issues that I've seen on it. Seems to be fairly well constructed. Should be usable for light backyard cutting, maybe even medium backyard cutting. That would kind of come down to the details of the quality of the construction. You can see the peened, I assume cold peened hilt right there, or tang, sorry. You can see right there. Blended fairly decent. So overall, pretty cool sword. I'd recommend picking one up if you can. All right, guys, so that's it. First ever sword review, I guess if you want to call it that, on this channel right here. Starting it off right with the name Ulfberg. We've got a Viking sword from Windlass Cutlery. They've been around for a long time. Have been doing a lot of decent work. You know, the general consensus on Windlass is they're okay. For the money, they're okay. All right, guys. I've talked long enough. You guys take it easy. Have a good day. I know I will. I've got another review I'm going to do right after this, so maybe I'll upload them both. I don't know. See you guys later.